Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lane One Making Waves. I am so excited about this week's episode. On the podcast today, we have two-time Olympian and 19-time World Championship medalist Olivia Smoliga. Now, I have been following Olivia for such a long time, and she is such a positive light in the swimming and athletic community. Within this conversation, we touch on her background in the sport, her experience in the Olympic Games, and how she has developed this sense of confidence that helps get her through those tough moments. We also touch on what's next for her and In Depth Swim Academy, a new initiative that she has started. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you again,
Great.
Olivia, for joining me today. I am so excited to talk to you. I know I was speaking a little bit beforehand, but I've followed your journey for a lot longer than just simply meeting you today. And you've always been such a positive light and force in the sport. So I'm excited to hear your take on your background in swimming and kind of where you're taking your experience now. But going back to the very, very beginning, what do you remember most vividly about your early swimming journey? Was there a defining moment or something that stood out where you're like, this is what I'm meant to do for the longevity of your life?
Yeah. No, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Summer. I'm so pumped to be connecting with you, and thank you for your words now and even a little bit before we hopped on. But defining moment for me when I was growing up, I never really I always say that I felt like I was drawn to the pool. It was
Mhm.
something like beyond me. I remember watching the 2004 Olympics for the first time. I remember exactly where I was standing, watching the TV screen and being like, this is so cool. I never had seen anything like this. Always loved watching sports growing up here in
Yeah,
Chicago. You got like a plethora of
you
options.
have
You go
to.
any way. And so I always felt like I was an athletic kid. I was always quite a shy kid, quite to myself. And so the pool was like a perfect outlet for that.
Yeah.
Ironically, though, I didn't really like it when I first started swimming. I had to wear those like wax earplugs. I was like, this ain't for
Oh
me.
no.
It was how I kept getting swimmers. Yeah, I was like, this sucks. Like, my, nose gets filled up with water
Yeah.
throughout every flip turn and everything. But for some reason, I just kept going. And there was this one defining moment. I think I was maybe 13, 14 years old. I think that was around the time of the 2008 Olympics, the
Hmm.
next go around. And for some reason, literally beyond me, I was just like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. And I had lived really close to this park uh, where they had a big hill. And I would just start running hills and I would just run sprints. I would run sprints. It was like a baseball,
Swimmers and
football field.
running. Wow.
I know. I don't know where that got connected, but I was like, something that this like internal
Hmm.
thing that just made me want to go and do this for real. And I was like, I gotta put the work in.
Yeah.
I gotta get ready, my 13-year-old self. And from then on, it was almost, I made this unwritten commitment to myself that I wanted to do this, perhaps just because I liked the internal reflection that working out gave me,
Yeah.
whether it was on a hill or in the pool. And yeah, from then on, I kind of made my strides. I really had a breakout year when I was like 15, 16 years old. I would say I'm like a late bloomer because you have everyone breaking like NAG records when they're nine,
Well,
10 years
yeah.
old, and that was never me. And yet I still kind of found my way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's such a beautiful thing is being able to do it for yourself. But also, I remember where I was when I watched pretty much every Olympics. There's one race where I'm like, I remember that exact moment. I remember where I was. And that kind of
Yeah.
draws you in. But there's also something so beautiful about the water in general. Like it just brings this sense of peace and calmness that you might not understand when you're 6 years old with earplugs in your ears, but then you get a little bit older and you're like, wait, like there's something to this that is more than just swimming.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's internal. It brings like
Yeah.
peace, calmness, and just this sense of maybe not during like main sets, but during warm down, a
Mhm.
sense of like relaxation.
For sure. I was just on a call with one of my sports mentors, Drake Davis, and he had recommended this book to me, which I've yet to get. It's called The Blue Mind. Have you heard of
Mm,
it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, I haven't read it. I hadn't heard of it. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to butcher this, but it was like people are happier or find themselves
Hmm.
like a deeper sense of themselves when they're near water. And that's just been like such a common thread in my life. Like I said, I was drawn to water. I love taking baths, as a kid, or even as I was like, anytime I can be in water. And I would talk like to my like people, all my friends that even swimmers especially, that they will take a bunch of showers daily because they just like
Yeah,
love being in water. Or just like a fish out of water if you're not kind of close to that element. But um, yeah, that is so swimmers are so unique. To me, it's the coolest sport that exists. I'm biased, I know, but it's like we're really like playing with this different medium, like how to
mhm.
move our bodies from our fingertips to our toes in this medium that we want to go fast through, we want to have power through. You can't force it, you can't fight it. I've been doing a bit of open water swimming now, being here in Chicago in the summer, and you can't force anything in open water. You have to either go with the flow or find a way to move your body that's not going against the grain. And honestly, even a deeper sense, like when we were in the womb,
Yeah,
all of us experience being in the womb and being in this water. It brings you back home. 70% water. The
yeah.
earth is 80% water. So my kind of intention, I'll speak it here kind of for the first time publicly. But my intention is really to infuse my what I'm doing with my career and beyond, to just celebrate this element of water and how it really can cleanse us and calm us. I was just off of a call with my mentor right now saying that you shower off the day and this water just could shower off the day, whether you have a good day or a bad day, you shower it off and you move on to the next. This element is so healing. I could go
No,
on forever.
that's amazing. That's something that I hadn't even thought about is like the amount of showers that we take, and like you said, just having that like nighttime relaxation moment, whether it's a shower, whether it's a bath, it's just this sense of like serenity where the day has ended. Like you can take a deep breath, whether it was a good day, whether it was a bad day, and just kind of like move forward and understand that it's so cyclical. Like you said, I mean, like being in the womb to like swim lessons and learning how to move your body in such an unknown element, because that element, it like especially open water swimming, I mean, it will control you. So you just have to figure out how to exist within it.
Yo, I love that. Figure out how to exist within it. Yeah, because it's like you're playing with it's two of you in this dance. It's not
Hmm.
just you on the track, you know?
Yeah.
We're used to, and running in this in air. Yeah, it's this dance. So I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's crazy. Like I could also go on forever about like how much the water has healed me, not only like within my swimming career, but then taking a break from it and coming back to it and realizing how much you do miss certain elements of it. But your positivity has always, always stood out in a sport that is known for its grind and its day-to-day practices. Where did that come from, and how did you learn to protect that energy in today's society?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind now is, so my parents are Polish immigrants, so I'm first generation here in the States. And it's like I grew up so much differently than they did.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hilarious to have like any sort of qualms with life compared to my parents. So
Yeah.
this actually popped into my memory like 2 days ago. My mom had this sign, like she bought it one day. It was like no whining zone. It was like a whining with like a cross. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, why did that come into my awareness? Like she had that when we were kids. She's like, no whining. So I'm very grateful for that from my parents because they really like, to me, they're the epitome of the American dream. They
Yeah.
started with nothing and made something, and that I'm literally so eternally grateful for seeing my parents grind, when I was a kid, and that was infused into my bones about like how to really um, become something or become someone. And for some reason, really was blessed with just like if you infuse your day with gratitude, it will multiply. And nobody likes a complainer. At the same
Yeah.
we would get in trouble if we did. So it's like it kind of drew me in, and I've always been a very spiritual person. I've
Hmm.
been praying since I was a kid. If I ever had any issues, I would really go internal. If I had ever had any problems or some hiccups or some failures or trouble in a friendship or a relationship or anything, I would pray about it in the bath, or in the pool or something like that. And I would pray and I would find my answers,
Yeah.
whether it was, whatever you want to call it, whether it was God giving you the answers or your own internal heart leading you. And then, you know, in today's society, we rarely have this moment of peace or isolation
Hmm.
because we're constantly getting this input from social media, from what other people are doing, this is through comparing ourselves. Um, that finding stillness, whether it's like 10, 20 minutes in your day, can really bring you these answers. And through this lens, you're able to be positive. Everybody has a story, everybody has struggles that they go through, but I've been really drawn to water, like I said, but beauty in general always changes my mood. Dude,
Yeah.
I will look at a tree and I'll be like, this tree, like,
It's-
is this tree? How did you grow over hundreds of years? You're so beautiful. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. So I really like to lean on the elements to kind of boost my positivity. And I just realized I'm extremely blessed in the way that I grew up.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's a huge misconception. Sometimes people think that people who are successful in life just grew up having it all, and more often than not, that's not the case. And I mean, my parents were kind of the same way. Like we didn't grow up coming from a lot. So like I saw my mom put in hours. Like my dad was waking up with us at 4 a.m. to drive us to practice, and
Yeah,
having such a huge support system from a young age is something that is so critical and often overlooked, is just like valuing what your parents taught you. Um,
100%.
and also just being able to slow down. Like you said, I mean, social media is so fast paced, especially with, I need to take my watch off sometimes. Like
Hmm.
watches, phones, computers, monitors, like it is all around you. But if you just take a second to like actually look around, you can be having the worst day. But like the sunset or the sunrise, those are two things that
Hmm.
like always ground me, and just realizing
Yeah.
like there is beauty in everything. So it sounds like you were able to realize this from such a young age when oftentimes, it takes you until later in life to be like, wow, I wish I would have appreciated that just a little bit more in the moment.
Yeah. And I still have those moments too. Like we just ran an event with the in-depth,
Mhm.
and I launched it in February, and it wasn't until months later that I was like, wow, we really did that. So amazing. So I
Yeah.
really made it an effort to like take 20 minutes in the day to really appreciate what just happened on Sunday, to
Yeah.
really appreciate this event that we ran on Sunday, and yet to have this stillness in such a fast-paced world. And I wanted to touch on just like one thing you said about, people growing up, even if people grow up with a lot too, because you could have two sides of the coin. It's like, oh, I got it out the mud, so that means I like deserve it more, which I've been on that side. I'm like, I had struggles, man. But then even if someone grew up with everything, it's still a solo journey that they have to take
Yeah.
on. You still, even if you have all the tools readily available, you have to use them.
Yeah.
You have to implement them. So it's all this beautiful way to get to know ourselves through everything. And um, I don't know. I'm sure you've heard this too. It's like your mind can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just I'd rather just
Rather have a
have it
friend.
be my friend.
Would you rather have
Exactly.
a friend with me all the time?
Yeah. So, but it's a practice for sure.
Yeah, no. Can you describe a moment within your swimming career where you felt tested, maybe emotionally or mentally, and how you worked through that without losing your confidence or your joy?
Dude, there was a point where I lost all my confidence and I lost all my joy. I
Yeah,
really went down in there, if I'm honest. There was a point really, it was after I made my first Olympic team. It was in 2016. This had been a dream of mine since I was, 9, then
yeah,
14-year-old running those hills. I did it. I did it. And it was like, oh, is this it?
yeah,
Like I made this team. I'm 21. Now what? I never thought past making the team. I didn't even think past making the team in terms of like going to the Olympics and what I wanted to achieve there. I
Yeah.
was like a deer in headlights. I had no bearings. I felt like this was supposed to be the coolest, dopest moment of my life. And it was for about a day. And then so much fear set in, so much anxiety, so many troubles set in about like actually having to represent the US and what I could do. And it really did affect that first Olympic experience.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing there. It was such a bizarre sensation to feel. And I think this pressure kind of um, was like overwhelming as the years went on, especially when I turned pro. I lost this joy. If I am in reflection now, why I did was because you just lose sight of the process. So you
Hmm.
have this goal and you're like, I did it. And now what? Yeah, you could set new goals, obviously, but if you're just goal oriented with everything that you do, yeah, you lose sight of the process, the day to day, the love for the water, the way
Yeah.
that it feels on your skin, like, and so I've been just honestly recently finding that back, no joke, in the last year,
Yeah.
finding back what it means to be creative, what it means to be in the water, what it means to be in the body rather than in the mind, because the pivotal moments in my career that really affected me in a negative way were when I was just completely in the mind, where I was my own worst critic,
Yeah.
um, didn't feel deserving, didn't feel worthy, didn't feel capable of any of these things. Just so bizarre because the opposite mindset got me to those points.
Yeah.
So it's like this battle of being like, but you did do it. You did do these hard things. You did make this team. Why are you kind of second guessing it now? And that's the dance to me. That's the
Yeah.
figuring out, where did these thought patterns even come from? Why did I even think this? Why am I struggling so much? Um, one key marker for me was in 2018. This was when I first turned pro. I remember it was like Pan Pacific Championships in Japan. I bombed it bad. And I remember coming back. I was still in Athens, Georgia, in my pro career until 21. And I was like laying on the floor of my apartment and just being like, I'm feeling horrible. This is not me. Well, how did I even get here?
Yeah.
And kind of sinking to those depths of myself perhaps was necessary, perhaps not. Perhaps I over dramatized it. Perhaps I wanted to be a victim to my circumstances. All of these possibilities could be true. But I got to see myself at my worst.
Hmm.
And I got to love myself through that and pick myself back up. And that's, in the grand scheme of things, my life is so easy. Like I'm an athlete. I get to play a sport for a living. But the emotions that every one of us feel, they're not um, am I using this term correctly? Mutually exclusive to,
Hmm.
or exclusive to struggle or status or whatever. Everyone feels
Yeah.
things. So, um, yeah, I think if you go for anything, great. If you go for anything that's a challenge, you're going to be faced with these things. That's the whole beauty of life and stuff. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, I've gone through all of this, and the way that I didn't lose my joy was by proving to myself that I am who I say I am,
Hmm.
by consistent action, and by just picking myself back up. Because I could have definitely just stayed in this wallowing state, which I probably did stay in for longer than I'm proud to admit. But it's okay. And that's how I grew. That's how I learned to mature, how to process emotions, you know, is
Yeah.
like this emotional maturity, which I, of course, didn't have, but would not have had if I didn't
Hmm.
allow myself to go there.
Yeah, it's so tricky, like as a high level athlete, because you do have these lofty goals. I think most swimmers, when they get to a point within their career, the Olympics is always something that's like presented to you. And it might not be like from a coach, from a parent, but it's always just there. Like that's the optimum, like optimum, we're struggling today too, of
No,
our
no, it's
sport,
good.
of our
Yeah, yeah,
sport.
yeah.
But then it's almost like once you do achieve that, like you said, then it's like, okay, now what? Like, who am I without that? Because, swimming is just a part of who you are, of who athletes are on the screen. But it's so ingrained into your life, especially from such a young age, that it's so difficult to find yourself like within those pivotal years of going to high school and going to college to where, the Olympics come and then they're done. And it's like, I feel like a child. It's like, who am I without this? So, how was your experience different in Rio compared to Tokyo?
If I'm really honest with you, they both felt similar in my perception at the time
Yeah.
that I didn't do what I wanted to do, that
Hmm.
I didn't have the meet that I wanted in both settings. Rio was great because I had like an individual event and I got to really go through the process of like, whoa, I made this final
Yeah.
and I'm in lane 8. Let's see what we can do here. And it's so funny looking back, like I went best times, like that's something I should have been so proud of. But of course, not only is it ingrained from us from a young age in the swimming world, because that's the peak that you can reach, making the Olympics, but you
Hmm.
better medal as
Yeah.
well, you know. So
Yeah.
I didn't individually medal, and so everything I saw everything. It's like another thing my mentor says that you could see everything through like this gray lens, like the gray cloud is above you, or you could see everything through rose-colored glasses, and it's all really, rainbows and butterflies or whatever. And so at the time, I saw everything through this
Yeah.
gray sense. I couldn't even see the positive through it. It's so crazy because I look back, I'm like, dog, you could have celebrated this so much more.
Yeah, like you're
We
at
could
the
have
Olympics.
had such a better time, man. Like, shoot, like. And then when I went to Tokyo. That was just a different beast because trials experience was quite challenging for me. I
Yeah.
didn't make it in the 100 back. I only made it in the 100 free relay only. That was a huge process for me too. And I think it's because, and the reason I prefaced all of this was if I'm honest, I felt the same way, is because I didn't have at least what I think I'm learning and practicing now, the emotional maturity to see everything from a neutral perspective,
Yeah.
to take it as feedback and to go forward with that feedback and to either tweak, improve, get better, learn something new. I wanted to do everything on my own. I didn't want anybody's help with anything
Yeah.
at all in both Olympics. I didn't want anyone to know my struggles. I didn't want anyone to see me as weak, that I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to be a know-it-all. I've been a know-it-all my whole life. I have a, I have a younger brother. I was so bossy to him too until he got bigger than me and I couldn't pick on him anymore. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, I've had this in my blood for too long. And so and so both of those instances were the same. It was almost as though they repeated themselves because I hadn't learned the lesson
Yeah.
yet. Afterwards, though, yeah, it's this like, who am I if not about swimming? If I'm not a swimmer, if I, if this journey is over, this Olympic journey at the time that I thought was over, um, who who am I? Who can I be? And
Yeah.
that was definitely a cool thing to go through because I've identified as a swimmer my whole life. And there was a year, 2022, I had missed the World Championship team. Um, and that was the first team I missed in like 8 years.
Yeah.
That was a blow. Because then I was like, who am I? And I detested identifying myself as a swimmer for the years to come. And I wanted to be something totally different until I realized, literally, probably this year, that I will always be a swimmer. And what a
Yeah.
beautiful thing it is to identify with. I just have multiple facets of this personality and who I can be. But I'm always a swimmer. Oh my
Yeah.
God. If I'm going to identify as something, let it be that. But yeah, definitely two tricky experiences at the most heightened stage that I could think of going. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, there's so much like reflection and there's so much learning that happens that's not even related to swimming, but is related to life within experiencing sport. So, like when I retired from the sport, you touch the wall and you're like, well, like I don't have to jump
Yeah.
in a pool anymore. Like, what am I doing? Like, who am I? And for a moment, like you do feel, or at least I felt a little bit like relieved because,
Mhm.
swimming is so intense that you finally have a break to like just relax and reflect. But then it's almost like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, what do I like to do outside of swimming? And it's like, you think that you have to become a whole new person and just leave swimming in the past. But that's
Mhm.
just not realistic in any form or any capacity because of how much like you grew from the sport and you learned from the sport. So it took me like a year or 2 years to like get back in the water and be like, I needed this. Like, I really
Mhm.
love this. But I also think like having that break was also such a learning opportunity and also needed to realize that I don't hate swimming. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a difficult sport.
Yes, 100%. I love the way you said that. Like, yeah, I don't hate this. It's just I describe my relationship with swimming as a love-hate,
Yeah.
thing because there's a have really beautiful experiences, have not the best, but it's just an avenue that you get to know yourself. Like any avenue you choose in life can be this way. I love that. Yeah, for sure. It's hard. Yeah, I can't recommend taking breaks enough for people who are still actively swimming or not, because it really helps you tap into this other side of yourself that will actually infuse your career with
Yeah.
more beauty if you do.
Yeah. I think like at least when we grew up swimming, taking breaks was always seen as weak. Like
Mhm.
you finish the Olympics and you're expected to take like 2 weeks off and then you dive right back in and prepare for Worlds, prepare for Pan Pacs. And it's just like
Mhm.
we see so many high level athletes now realizing that breaks are needed and then they do come back and they set world records or they set personal best times and it shows that like taking 6 months or a year or Becca Mann took 5 years off and I interviewed her and she just made the national team again and so like
Oh my gosh.
yeah, no, it's crazy.
Wow.
But like if it's meant to be like it's gonna be and you can always come back to it, but being like taking care of your body and your mind is so much more important than, just trying to rush through the process.
For sure. I can't agree more. That's so crazy. I did not know that about Becca. I've been following her journey. I love her so much. We were
I love
room
Becca.
Me too. We were roommates at my first ever international trip.
Yeah,
And wow, so cool. And all the things that she's done for the sport, for open water with the books that she's written. Wow, it's so incredible. Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah, we realize we're humans first, not
yeah,
swimmers. It's insane for a coach to expect just taking 2 weeks off after the Olympic Games. That's why Aaron Pearsall has been and will forever be my favorite swimmer. I like just one of my greatest inspirations. Because he was like a whole human and a
yeah,
dog, and an
yeah.
absolute dog.
He was a beast.
So, so for those reasons, yeah.
Getting into kind of the identity, confidence, and personal growth aspect, what advice would you give to swimmers, especially young girls in the sport who may be struggling to separate their worth from the results within swimming?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because it's like you work so hard, you want a result, and then perhaps in an emotional state, as
Mm,
I was saying before, you take the goal, I think, is to take every piece of um, every result as just a feedback
yeah.
from a neutral perspective. Oh, I didn't drop time in this event. Why? Okay, maybe I faced injury 3 months ago. I just got sick. I know the whole crew at USA Swimming got food poisoning.
It
I
was,
had
yeah.
fucking food poisoning.
Yeah.
So, okay. Or or honestly my mental is just not good. I wake up foggy every day. I'm not enjoying what I do. Okay, so I have all of these things that I have this feedback on after not having gone a best time or dropped time in an event or made a team. Cool. How can I supplement those things? Okay, my brain is feeling a bit foggy. Maybe I need to talk to a sports psychologist. Maybe I just need to
Mhm.
hang out with my homegirls a little bit more and just like take my mind away from the pool.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't PT my stuff enough, and so I need to get back into the gym in that way. And then I try again. But we are so terrified. I won't even speak for the collective. I'll speak for myself. I've been so terrified to go back because I fear the same exact failure that's happened to me in the
Yeah.
past. And I think I'm going to repeat it. And we are creatures of habit, we are creatures of patterns. So
Hmm.
we think, well, in this same circumstance, I've been here before. Oh, it's going to happen to me again. I'm telling you, like from 2016 to 2021, it's like I just repeated that same pattern because I was not able to neutrally take the feedback that I had from that meet. And I took it emotionally, I took it personally. This
Yeah.
is really hard not to do. And I think for young girls, especially, trust, I've been in your position before where I think, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why isn't this happening to me? What did I do wrong? It's like sometimes when we operate out of this like like yeah, emotionality, we end up just going into this spiral that doesn't serve us. You know, when you can
Mhm.
like you receive like a message or something like that and you just don't like the way that it reads to you. You're like,
Yeah.
"What? Why did they say like why did they use a period there?
Yep.
Like
I'm an
obviously,
exclamation mark person.
yeah, exactly. You see the period, you're like, are they mad at me? What did I do? And then you can go for like an hour, like, oh, maybe it's because something I said like last week. Maybe they're still mad at me for like that one thing that I did, or I should have, and you spiral
Mhm.
like all the way down until you've completely shredded yourself with these thoughts that are completely irrelevant. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. And I think the same thing can happen with swimming. How do you separate your worth from the results? Is that you are inherently worthy of
Hmm.
everything you desire simply by existing. You are a miracle to exist. I'm not even trying to pump anyone's tires. It's insane that we're all here at this time. It's
Yeah.
insane that I'm connecting with you. Out of the 8 billion people in the world that I could have connected with, I'm here with you now. To me, that's a miracle. I choose to see it that way. You want to call me delusional? Cool. But we get to see ourselves as this. I'm worthy of everything. Do I need to work hard in order to get what I desire? Absolutely.
Hmm.
You know, am I going to fall along the way? Absolutely. The reason that I focus so much at in depth about talking that failure is a good thing,
Yeah.
people hate that. People hate that I've hated it. It's not like I'm going up behind the blocks and being like, can't wait to not do well.
Add
Like it's
time.
add time and get my ass beat. No, but we don't talk about the fact that there will be struggles and there may be failures on the path. We don't talk about it. And then we're dumbfounded when it happens because
Yeah.
we think that everything should come to us so easily and so quickly. But it's all a point of perspective as well. So you get to be your own biggest cheerleader.
Hmm.
And the hardest lesson I ever had to learn, although I have in the most incredible support system behind me, is that no one else will do it but you.
Hmm.
We want this validation and support from everyone else, but if you don't give it to yourself, it- it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
So that's been like the main thing I've been focusing on probably in the last year. God, I wanted it from everyone. I wanted it from my boyfriend. I wanted it from my family. I wanted it from my friends. I wanted it from my coach. I wanted all of them to just gas me, but I had to gas me up
Yeah.
first, you know?
No,
So,
absolutely. And it's so difficult not to take things personally or not to
mhm,
take anything personally, especially, feedback that you're getting, whether it's from a coach or whether it's the time on the board or, your practice sessions. Like sometimes it's so difficult to build that sense of confidence within yourself when things like keep falling down on you, but also
mhm.
knowing that like life has so many seasons. And,
Yes.
when I was 13 and I thought the world was ending when, things would go wrong that weren't even a big deal back then. I look back and I'm like, Summer, you were a little dramatic. Like, you're fine now. But like also like swimming has so many different seasons and knowing that like as long as you put in the effort, like results will come to you and whatever happens, like I'm a firm believer that whatever happens is meant to happen as long as you're able to learn from what you went through. So like reflection, as you said, is such a huge thing in the sport. What did I do? What can I do differently? What season in life am I at? But also realizing that you have to change what you're doing in order to improve yourself and also like improve those results as well.
Yes. 100%. We're constantly evolving. The
Hmm.
whole point, I feel like, of our existence is evolution. We're
Yeah.
evolving, we're growing as people. And a tough struggle, I think, that just came to me now, or perhaps just a realization, is that because we grow up in the swimming from a young age, we think that yeah, everything is so like potent when we're 13, and we carry that because it's
Yeah.
like that's like the world is ending because I'm at the center of the universe
Yeah.
in my 13-year-old self. It's like I live at home, I got everything kind of is revolving around me in my perception or
Yeah.
something. But I think one of the greatest struggles, or lessons, perhaps, let me reframe, is that um if you don't integrate those parts,
Hmm.
that 9-year-old, that 13-year-old,
Yeah.
into my current, I'm 30 now, into my 30-year-old self, we'll think that we need to operate in the same way we did when we were 14, when we did when we were 20, when we were 25. And because swimming has been such a sport that you start when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you think you need to do those same exact things now. But it's just is like I'm maturing now, I'm older now, I'm wiser now.
Hmm.
And it was really hard for me to stand on those things. So yeah, I don't know if you
No.
asked a question, I don't know, but yeah, I totally agree with you on evolution. Like we need to change, right? So we need to change the things that we're doing and build on our past to kind of
Yeah.
elevate ourselves in the future.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, like so much of swimming's experiences like apply to life and vice versa that like it's just such a cool like circle that
Mhm.
everyone lives in. I know you
Mhm.
mentioned in depth, so I'm very excited to talk about
Yeah.
this new journey that you have started. So, what made you want to start in depth? And can you speak a little bit more about what it is and the mission of the organization?
Thank you so much. Yeah, In Depth has been such a crazy passion project over the last year.
Hmm.
Yeah, probably the last year. After missing the team last summer, I was really, just wondering what to do. I
Hmm.
took some time, I traveled a bit, I had a lot of fun. And then um, I was asked to do a bunch of clinics, kind of in the interim. And I don't like doing clinics at all. Through whoever runs them, whoever's run them in the past, they're boring to me. You go in, you do a couple drills, you sign a couple caps, and then you're out of there.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking to myself, how can I bring a greater in-depth experience? And I just started brainstorming. Does I started brainstorming by reflecting on my 9 and 10-year-old self. I
Yeah.
was super blessed by my coach, Steve Ida, on my club team here, who put us through visualization, who put us through goal setting, who put us through just mental kind of mapping of what we wanted to do. Those tools, I mean, made me who I am. The fact that I had them in my toolkit throughout my entire career is insane. And I
Yeah.
was like, I think now the education on that is so much wider and vaster. Perhaps it was still at the time. I don't know, I was like, but 10-year-old visualizing, can I actually really do this? Can I actually really implement this in a way that kids won't get bored or whatever? Because I just thought, if these tools helped me, how can I bring them forward? And it really just felt like this internal pull, the same way that like it felt like it was beyond me why I was running hills. No one told me to do it. It just felt like this internal thing. It felt
Yeah.
the same way. Yeah, I felt the same way with launching In Depth. And just crazy. It was so crazy. Like I thought to myself, like, who do I want to target? What kind of swimmers do I want to target? What age do I want to target? Is this even valuable? Will people like this? And all of those questions of uncertainty really showed me I was kind of on the right path
Yeah.
about it, because I had no idea how it was going to turn out. I was like, brilliant, let's do it. Like, let's go for it, I guess. Don't know what's going to happen, but whatever. And so these key elements that we bring in depth, it is a 2-day clinic. I call it an event rather, where we not only are in the pool filming swimmers. We've partnered
Hmm.
with Go Swim, which is an underwater filming app that gives you all the stats that you need. You
That's
got
so
your
cool.
tempo. Yeah, right. Like you got your tempo, you got your stroke count, you got all of these things. And yeah, to be filmed as like a young kid is so cool because of course
Mhm.
if you're a visual learner, when you just see it's like, oh yeah, I think my elbow's like totally fine. But then it's like the, it's like
Yeah.
here or whatever. And so when you see it, you're like, yeah, see, Timmy, I told you, so whatever. But it's great. It's great. So this like filming aspect in the pool, we run them through really cool drills. Like each clinic is different dependent on what the club wants. Sometimes we'll have open events, so it's not club affiliated, but we'll have these
Yeah.
open events. Sorry, club events where we ask the coach like, what do you want us to perhaps work on? Maybe we'll just do a complete underwater workshop. So power drills and do an underwater workshop, a start and turn workshop. Like it changes all the time. So we've had returning customers, which is just the coolest thing to see, I gotta say,
Yeah.
because that shows that the education continues. It's not a one-off that you meet this Olympian and then it's like you're done. The education continues because we're always a student of the game. So when we have them come in, the returning customers, they get a new experience every single time
Yeah.
because not only does the stuff in the pool change, but the stuff in the classroom changes as well. We have these classroom sessions where we provide worksheets for goal setting, take home worksheets to kind of just expand your awareness, to expand your internal reflection and so we'll have this, and then I'll run the swimmers through a visualization as well, visualization activation. Not only that, but we also implement recovery. What an important tool it is to become an elite athlete, to take care of your
Yeah.
body outside of the pool. So we'll run them through yoga, through breath work, all of these things that just simply don't exist. I actually feel so emotional talking about it right now because I truly can't believe that something like this I've gotten the opportunity to create and bring forward to people because I just know how vital and important it is for your own mental health. Everything
Yeah.
we've spoken about here today about being a well-rounded athlete, the top of the top elite tier athletes get all of this,
Hmm.
uh, get all of these tools. So if we can start young, that is my main intention, and it has been. But of course, we've worked with master's programs as well. So I worked with a master's program in Poland and then a master's program here on Sunday, open water.
Yeah.
So just any way that that I can bring these things that just feel like they're just burning within me to speak about because they've helped me. And it's so funny because, you know, you, like these are the tools that I'm using every day.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually doing it and I just happen to put it on paper. Like
Yeah.
I do, I was, like I said, just got off a call with my mentor and I was like, I do breath work every day. I drop into the body every day. I do my stretches every day. I'm visualizing who I want to be in 3 years.
Hmm.
These are such cool tools and the swimmers have loved it. So yeah.
No, that's absolutely incredible. And that's been such a gap, I think, from age group swimming to, even getting to college where you have all of these resources and elite level swimming where USA Swimming does provide all of these resources. But, we wouldn't have college swimming or professional swimming without our age group swimmers. And so
Mhm.
it is like such a disservice that we're not providing more of these opportunities to allow them to have the holistic tools that they need to be not only well-rounded swimmers, but like well-rounded individuals. So it's really cool to see the goal setting, the classroom sessions. Filming is such a huge thing,
Mm.
especially with the younger age groups. As you said, when I got filmed for the first time, I thought it was the coolest thing. I think I still have the tape. I was 12 years old. I'm not going to
Yeah.
share it because it was terrible. But it also just like revitalizes swimmers, right? Like it gives them a sense of like, I can do this. Like it brings a sense of joy and community back into swimming, which can be isolating if you're just consistently doing the same thing every day. And so it's been so cool. I know I've looked at your social media and in-depth social media, and all of the videos that you post are so inspiring and they're so cool. And I can't recommend checking it out enough because, as I said, it is such a huge gap in the swimming world, what we do with our age group swimmers to our elite level swimmers. And I've done camps too. And unless you're able to really connect with the swimmers, I feel like the experience is just lost among them. And so, like, having the chance to connect with you personally, to learn from you and what you've been through is so huge. And I'm so excited to see it take off even further than it has.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Even what you said about connecting with the swimmers down the line, I really wish to continue this education further, whether it's through like like online modules, like just to
Yeah.
continue this education, so that they always have it, so it's not this one-off experience. But I really appreciate your words, so thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. What kind of feedback have you gotten from swimmers or parents that made you step back and think, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is exactly why I started this.
Um, I'll give you the most recent example. So we were just with NASTY, which stands for North Avenue Swim Triathlon Yo in Chicago. And I was talking to Keaton, who is my social media guru
Yeah.
and kind of brand developer. And she swam at Cal and has just become the best homie. But I was like, Keaton, like, we're about to go to this Masters swim team, which is like 25 plus. And I was like, do you think that they're gonna like vibe with all of the stuff that we've been doing? Because we've been tailoring it a bit maybe to the age group swimmer.
Hmm.
Do you think that older athletes are gonna enjoy this? Ironically enough, like I said, I'm doing this every day, so like, I like it. Hopefully that's good enough. But so I spoke to this one girl who just kind of pulled me aside after the event is over, and she was like, dude, I just gotta say, every single post that you have on In Depth, I love so much. It like inspires me or some it was just the most beautiful words that I heard. She was like, everything you say, I'm just learning so much, and I wish I had known this when I was younger. So
Hmm.
many people say, I wish I had known this when I was younger. And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm doing this. That's exactly why I'm here. Why I feel grateful, lucky enough to be here
Yeah.
and doing this. And there was also one example with this girl from a club team we were in February. And talk about the change that happens because we break up the days between through 9 through 12 and then 13 plus 13 to 18.
Yeah.
The 9 to 12-year-old kids have this bursting sense of curiosity
Hmm.
and willingness to fail over and over and over and over again because they haven't been taught that failure is bad and they
Yeah.
haven't been surmounted with pressure to perform. So we had this like question on a worksheet, like what happens in your mind? What are the thoughts that are arising when you have a bad race, when you have a tough practice? And the kids raise their hand and I call on the 9 through 12-year-olds and I'm like, uh, so what are the thoughts that go through your head? And they're like, oh, you just try again. I'll just try again. It's no problem. I'll just try again. I have all these opportunities to try and try again. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is amazing. We go to the next day, the 13 and 14-year-old kids, and I ask them the same question. And I'm like expecting like a happy result. I'm like, everyone's gonna just want to try again. And the 13 and 14-year-old kids are like, what's the point of even working hard if I'm not gonna get the results that I want? What's the point of putting in all of this time and effort if I'm gonna fail again? And from the jump, from 2 years jump, you'd
Yeah.
have this completely different outlook on life. And the more and more you repeat it, the more it's going to carry into your high school season, into collegiate season, which is why I feel like so many collegiate swimmers, especially female athletes, they stop.
Yeah.
They burn out. They don't want to swim any longer because they've been told they're either too old or whatever, like they reach their whatever prime or all that stuff. Obviously, I take that personally because I'm like, no, what? Yeah, so so that's kind of a tangent. But when I was speaking to this one girl, she was, I think, 13, 14 years old, and really cool to just kind of bring awareness to the thoughts that kind of are running through your head. And so she said, sometimes I just think I'm not good at swimming anymore, you know? And in the same way that you said, like when you're 13, like you feel like it's the end of the world because you
Yeah.
haven't built the awareness that thoughts come and go. That
Yeah.
the sun will rise again tomorrow, God willing, right? So she says, I just don't think I'm good at swimming. I'm like, girl, I've been there. I've been there. But why do you think you're not good at swimming? And she
Yeah.
says, well, I haven't dropped in this X event. And I was like, okay, well, how about let's reframe our mind and think
Yeah.
about something you have done well. What how did your last meet go or whatever? She's like, oh, actually, I got the regional cut in the 100 breast. And I'm like, oh, okay. So would you say you're a bad swimmer? Would you say you don't know how to swim? She's like, actually, no, I'm a pretty good swimmer. I'm like, see how
Yeah.
easy that was? And the light changes. You just don't realize.
Hmm.
You would think that's the simplest thing. You would think that everyone should have that awareness. And it's not the case.
Yeah.
It's simply not. And so I know that's like the most basic example I could give you, but it makes it feels so good inside to just be like, and that's perhaps the positivity like you touched on before. It's like, yeah, there's the light and the dark, the positive and the negative. You could stay on the negative, but if you don't appreciate the positive, like you won't be well rounded, you
Yeah.
know? So, and everyone expects you to be negative. Like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no. I can be negative, but I'm also going to give a little bit of attention to the positive as well, which seems like such a radical thing to do now when people all they want to do is
No.
complain. I'm just like, dude,
Like you're
no,
gonna be okay.
yeah, you're gonna be good, right? So that's a few little tidbits of feedback. And,
No,
yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible. And I mean, like, it takes me back to like my time as a young girl. And, it is such a vast difference between being 10 and 11. And then I think like in your teenage years, it's like all of a sudden you become aware of what everyone else is doing, and you
Mhm.
almost fall in a trap of comparing yourself to everybody else. So, like, everyone is on their own journey, and everyone's timeline is so vastly different, but we get so caught up in what so and so is doing and what so and so achieved, and why haven't I reached this level yet? Like, am I where I'm supposed to be? There's so many, like, questions and thoughts that go through your brain that it's so easy to spiral. But, it also just comes back to having this like innate sense of knowing who you are and knowing that, like, as I said, you are on your own timeline, which when you're 13 is so difficult to understand. And I mean, I'm 20, I turned 29 in like a month, and
Mm,
still sometimes I question it because,
mm,
as you said, thoughts come and go. And another thing you touched on that really like resonated with me is I think it was a Nike commercial that I watched, and they asked a bunch of young girls, I think they were 6 or 7 years old, run like
mm,
a girl.
mm,
And they're sprinting, like they're running as fast as they can. And then all of a sudden you ask 15-year-olds, like run like a
mm,
girl. And the output is completely different. All of a sudden they're just running slower. They're like doing the like
mm,
la di da di da. And it's just so much of what we're receiving as feedback projects how we act in real life. And so, like,
mm.
having someone like you in the sport who has achieved so much resonate with these young girls and be such a positive role model is so huge in the sport. And I mean, you're touching more lives than you're even coming into contact with.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm like so touched. Thank you. It's cool. I mean, it's whatever I'm like led to. So wherever I'm led, I'll just go, and I hope to dedicate everything I do in service to whoever needs it. And I really do appreciate that. But it's crazy the feedback we get as women,
Yeah.
you know, and it's hard to develop a sense of self when you want to connect.
Yeah.
It's this whole paradox of the world. It's like, well, I want to connect with people. I want to have friends. I don't want to be some loser loner, you know, or something like that, which I've definitely felt. But this is a solo journey, and
Hmm.
you get to share with people who kind of share the same values as you.
Yeah.
That's probably something I'd love to probably go into in depth as well. Like, what are your values, and then who are the cliche, not cliche, but that um the the five people you spend the most time with, like
Yeah.
they are, you
Like a
will be like,
reflection of,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, a reflection of you. And so who are you spending time with, man? Like, you just you're choosing to what you said at the beginning of the call, like even following. Who are you following on social media?
Mhm.
Does it uplift you? Do you feel good about it? It's all things we just don't think about because it's easy to be mindless. It's
Yeah.
easy to not be aware.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's cool.
No,
Thank you.
it is. It's so full
Yeah.
circle. Like I said, I think
Mm,
everything is so cyclical, and you can take pieces of life and know like exactly where that thought came from, where that emotion came from. But
yeah.
just one last question for you, because I know I
Yeah.
mentioned I can talk forever.
Me too. You're good. It's all good.
If every swimmer listening to this episode could take one thing away from your story or your mission with In Depth, what would you want that to be, and why do you think it matters now in today's society more than ever?
I think my brother just left that. What I would love swimmers to walk away with, which is something that I'm practicing daily now still. And it's a piece of advice that one of the best humans I've ever met, Jack Roach, told me a couple
Hmm.
years ago, is to trust yourself, is to really, really find stillness in your day, whether it's 10 or 20 minutes, and just listen to yourself. You could even go as far as putting your hands on your heart and dropping your awareness into your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat against your palms and just ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need? What is one step I could take right now that would further me on my path of who it is I want to become? And
Hmm.
you'd be shocked at the answers that you receive. It's that building the awareness of your own self, becoming your own best friend, you know, becoming your biggest cheerleader. These are all these things that if you're solid within, a little easier said than done, but it'll lessen the chance that you're going to compare yourself to other people. It'll lessen the chance that you'll back out of something even though you really want to do it. I'm in the crossroads as I speak. I want to go and do this next thing, and I am so terrified to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work out. I have no effing clue if it will. But my heart is telling me to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to. And I'm just going to see what's on the other side, you know? And I trust that no matter what happens, I'll be all right. And so I think all of us get to trust ourselves more. I'll, I used to really consider myself like the greatest introvert of all time. I'd be like, if plans are canceled, great.
Like
I'm
I don't want
gone.
to go.
I didn't want to go anyway. But the more that I open up to myself, the more I open up to getting to know myself, the more I want to get to know other people. And then
Yeah.
they reflect something within me. And that's been so beautiful. Go out and spend time with your friends. Go outside, um, join a club,
Yeah.
get to know yourself. Life is way too short, man. It's way,
Yeah.
way, way too short. And, you know, so that's kind of what I would probably say.
No, I think that's absolutely amazing. And I know that even like listening and reflecting on like words you have said within this conversation, like they've resonated within me, and like I'm so excited to like go outside and work on some breath work now. And like you said, connecting with people is so important. And I'm so grateful to be in this position where I get to, talk to you and learn from your experiences. And I know that everyone listening to this episode is going to have similar feedback. So just another moment to thank you for everything that you've put into this conversation, and also just being vulnerable and willing to talk about your experiences to help our next generation kind of move forward.
Thank you so much for just the coolest conversation ever and for the chance to have this platform to be able to speak about it. I love everything that you're doing and to give voice to so many people in the swimming community. It's just incredible. So thank you so, so much.
Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. I know it was so much fun catching up with Olivia and learning more about her journey in the sport and where she is currently taking it. There are so many pieces of advice within this conversation that are so important to young swimmers, athletes, coaches, and parents. Most importantly, the value of self confidence and knowing who you are both in and out of the water. Can't recommend enough going to one of the in depth swim academy camps. I am going to put the link here to Olivia's website. Again, please, please, please check it out. She's doing amazing things in the sport. As always, also please like, subscribe, and follow Lane 1 Making Waves on all platforms. I will also link them here. A huge shout out to the International Swim Coaches Association and Swimming World Magazine. Without their help, this podcast would not be possible. So, with that, I will catch you guys next time.